Hello again. Now, women are not just victims of gender-based violence in person, but also online. This is one of the issues that will be tackled at the Cybersecurity Innovation Challenge. Participants will be working on innovative ways to keep everyone safe online. Let's discuss this further now with Anna Collard from Know Before Africa. Anna, very good morning. Thanks so much for your time. So often when we think about gender-based violence, we're always looking at the physical, where we're looking at, just the cases and the horror cases that we've been hearing. And when we think of online, we think of bullying. But what is happening with GBV online?
Yeah, thanks for having me this morning. Exactly. I mean, I think that's the problem, is that especially in Africa, there isn't really an awareness yet that online gender-based violence exists. So if people complain about it, it gets sort of brushed off as if it isn't anything bad. But unfortunately, if you think about it, especially with us having moved to digital in the pandemic, the lines between offline and online have blurred ever so more. And often what happens is that either the violence may start in the online space and then move over the offline or the real life space, or the other way around. Like, for example, you could have ex-boyfriends that start harassing the victim, or you may have sexual online harassment that then results in actual physical attacks. So it really is a massive problem. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the GovX Innovation Challenge. So we're looking at ways, or you're looking at ways to actually keep people safe, to make sort of cyber safe for vulnerable users. What's happening in that space? How can we make it safe?
So the initiative has started off last year with just an idea of where we discussed with government and the industry that, there's not enough done to protect victims of cybercrime. And we've seen a fivefold increase just during the pandemic in terms of actual data breaches and cybercrime specifically. And one of the challenges that we have in the security industry is that we don't have enough resources. There's a massive skill shortage across South Africa as well as the rest of the continent. And one of the ways that in this collaborative initiative, one of the ways we thought we could possibly at least address the challenge is by incentivizing the youth. So really going to the students and asking them to come up with innovative and new approaches to solve three major challenges. And those three are addressing how we can respond to cyber crime victims in a better way, more effective way, and help the government to establish that competency. Second one is to improve awareness and help communities to protect themselves proactively so that they don't even become victims. And thirdly, and this is something I'm quite passionate about, is to also address this whole issue of online gender-based violence and bring that to the force, and then come up with solutions that would possibly force the social media platforms to do more and prevent hate speech and any form of sort of misogynistic content as and when it happens, but as well bringing in the local sort of first-line responders and law enforcement up to scratch, that they understand that this is an issue and that we have to help victims.
And I suppose the other sort of more sensible advice, what people might think the most sensible advice, is to just don't go online, don't be online, don't have a presence. But why should that be a last resort? Because every day we're told that the world is moving, everything's happening online. So it really wouldn't pay to not be part of that world, would it?
Exactly, and especially not for our girls and women. Like, already there's a gender imbalance in terms of digitization. So African women in general are much less likely than the man to have like a sort of an online presence. And if we look at exactly like you said, as everything is moving towards the fourth industrial revolution, to digitized, we can't afford to leave the girls and the women behind. Like, we have to make sure that we all have like an equal standing, that we all have the same opportunities. And unfortunately that is, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, that means we have to have a presence in the online space in order to succeed in the future. And that's one thing that is quite concerning, and there's a statistic of a survey ran by a company called, or a group called Policy, and they interviewed a whole group of girls or women in Africa, and 39% of the women that were surveyed are exactly, as you mentioned, they are concerned about going online in the first place because they either have experienced the harassment themselves or they've sort of saw it amongst their friends or their family. And we can't let that happen. We have to make sure that girls and women have the same, fun and opportunities in the online space as the guys.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Anna Collard.